And the bad news is, Danny Christie knocked out Luke Dyson, stopped him with a body shot in round 2 last night. And I went to BK Sports last night. I had a fighter out there, Luke Beeby, who is, I think, got us a lot of potential in the bare knuckle scene, someone to really, really keep an eye out on. And I'll talk about that and why it was bad news at BK Sport. Well, after BK Sport it was bad news. But yeah, Danny Christie versus Luke Dyson. So it was it was quite a competitive little scrap for the first round and a half. It was good. It was a good watch, actually. I was going to make this video last night, but I'll explain why I didn't shortly. What happened at the start? Danny looked pretty composed, and he was just working his jab, trying to stay long. He didn't take many risks at all in the first round with Luke Dyson, which is a good, very clever and pretty good thing to do, because Dyson is dangerous. He hits hard, as we saw in the second round, and he is unorthodox, but he actually boxed really well. If you compare it to some of his other performances, where he's very wild and he steps through and he makes it steps through into southpaw in front of people, makes a lot of mistakes, and sometimes he'll shoot like an uppercut from right down at his knees and step in with it. And but he didn't do any of this really with Danny. It was a good version of Dyson, a very good version of Dyson. I've got loads of respect for Luke Dyson. I know he gets a bad rap online, but to do what he does and have as many fights as he does, you've got to be half decent and very tough. And he's a tough first and skilled second, I'd say, but he is very tough. So yeah, Danny started really nicely, just working the jab. The thing that Danny did in the first round, which was pretty clever, was he kept Dyson moving all the time. He took from the start, the first bell, he just went boom, boom, and hit him with, I think it was a 1-2 or maybe a double jab and a backhand. And it might have only landed on the gloves, but he got his respect straight away. So Dyson thought, oh, right, he's got big power. I can't just stay in the pocket here. And then he just sort of marched Dyson round the octagon. So every time Dyson would throw a couple of shots or throw a jab or throw a 1-2, even like Danny would be straight back on him, straight back feinting, straight back moving. And that's why Dyson looked so tired after the first round, because I watched the live stream footage and they were saying, why is he so gassed? Why is he fights all the time? Why is he so gassed? And he does look like that, Dyson, after 1 or 2 rounds normally, and he will get through the fight. But he does do that. And I think it might be partly because he's so bulky. He's carrying a lot of not a lot of body fat, but he's carrying a lot of mass. Probably puts a lot of stress on his system when he's working like that. But I also think, yeah, it was due to the fact that Danny just kept him moving. He kept him walking. He dictated the centre of the ring, centre of the octagon, and just walked Dyson around. And if he ever did take a step off, he was straight back on the gas. And you see towards the end of the first round, it was still quite competitive, but that was when Dan started finding his range. He looked for a really, really nice uppercut, left hook combination. The uppercut just missed and he caught Dyson with the left hook and he looked like he rocked him. And just, I think, 10 seconds to go, he sort of tapped Dyson's gloves upstairs, because Dyson has quite a straight on high guard and it's sort of open down the middle, which is why he was open to the uppercut later on. And he tapped him there and he hit him with a big right hand downstairs to the body, and those really, really hurt. They really do. They're very, very unpleasant, and they take it out of you. Maybe not right away. If they don't stop you right away, they'll take it out of you in the next round. So, and we did see that. So Danny definitely won the first round. Dyson did well. Didn't look like he was really in any trouble, and he did throw back a lot. For a lot of shots, actually, and a lot of powerful shots, but Danny just shelled up, took him nicely, used his range really well. So Dyson really didn't get anything clean on him in the first round, but it was good. It was an interesting watch. It really, really was. It wasn't an absolute blowout in the first round. Second round, Dyson goes back to the corner and he's sitting down right away, and they're spraying him with water and his mouth's open and that. And I think it was partly due to the body shot and partly because Danny just didn't let him settle. Walked him around the octagon, one side to the other, up, down, and it's very, very hard to think about what's going on. It's very, very hard to get your breath when you've got someone that's at you and they're feinting at you and they're throwing shots and you know they can hit you hard because they already have. They've got your respect straight away. Yeah, that would explain that. And Danny's just stood up and he's talking to his coach, and you can see that Dyson's been affected a lot worse by that first round than Christie has. So they go out for the second round, and Danny's a lot more aggressive in this second round. And I think it's probably because he knew that he had hurt him, or that he could hurt him, where he's thrown the right hand left hook at the end of that first round, just narrowly missed on the uppercut, but caught with the left, and probably see that he had, you know, stunned Dyson slightly or buzzed him slightly, and then when he landed that body shot, he thought, right, I've got him here, I can hurt him here. You know, I know exactly where I am now. I've worked my range out. So very aggressive, straight from the bell. From the second round, he's high guard, he's marching straight forward, and everything that Dyson throws, he's just going tuck, shell, little rolls, little half steps out, and things. If Dyson's powering something up, it's just slipping over his head, or it's just slightly missing, or he's just taking it on the gloves, and then he turns the pace on a little bit, and again throws the right uppercut, which lands beautifully, like, I don't know, 30 seconds into the second round or something, and then the left hook, and the left hook folds Dyson in half. And the way he goes down, his like legs go out from underneath him. He's like literally folded, and you just think, how? I thought he weren't getting up from that. I saw that, and I knew that Danny had knocked him out, and I thought there's no way he's getting up from that. But he did. Fair play to him, Dyson. And then Dyson is obviously in panic mode. I'm hurt now. I've got to fight back, and he starts throwing back hard. He's thinking, I've got to knock him out now, or I'm going to get knocked out, and it turns into the shootout. It turns into a shootout, and for Danny, really and truly, being in a shootout with Dyson in the pocket like that, where you're both letting your hands go at the same time, is the last place he would want to be. It's the last place he'd want to be, considering really and truly the only chance Dyson had of beating him was just by knocking him out with a big shot. Luckily, with a big lucky shot, and he doesn't nearly knock him out, but he hurts him badly. There's a point, so just after the knockout, they're in the pocket. Danny's obviously thinking, right, I've got him here, starts putting the pace on him, and Dyson starts letting his hands go back. And I think Danny goes to throw a left hook, opens himself up at exactly the same time as Dyson throws the same shot. And Danny takes a step back. He doesn't look badly hurt because he's smiling right away, and he's sort of like, they separate, and he's sort of like, yeah, come, let's go. But for him to take a step back, it's like, oh yeah, that was a big shot. And he takes a couple in that sequence, and then he's throwing back very, very hard. Dyson's shots throws another few, and Danny takes them on the gloves, and they are hard shots, but they're just they're getting less and less as Danny's putting the pressure on him more and more, and then Danny hits him with a huge liver shot in the end, which finishes him. And yeah, but by this point, from watching it, Dyson was slowing down. Danny had already knocked him down. Dyson had emptied his tank, and you would have thought that probably if it wasn't that liver shot, it would have been another shot, to be fair, because Danny was throwing beautiful combinations by this point and everything at 100%. Dyson was already hurt, but those liver shots are fucking dangerous. They're deadly. They are so painful. If you get caught clean in the liver, you get caught with a big shot in the face, and you don't really feel it at the time. Even if you get dropped, you don't really feel it. It doesn't really hurt. You might feel like a bit of a sting or a bit of a thud. It's a funny old feeling, but you don't feel the pain. But the shots around the body, they hurt straight away. Or the liver shots are sometimes a little bit delayed, a couple of seconds, but they hurt right away, and they completely disable you. The liver is the worst place in the whole body, in my opinion, to get hit. Even worse than getting hit in the balls. It's fucking that bad, honestly. But yeah, so good win for Danny. Really, really good performance. Good performance for Dyson. He actually really shocked me. I really genuinely thought that he was going to get nowhere near even landing a glove on Danny, and Danny would just box him and run rings around him. But judging from the first round, he probably could have done that if he wanted to. But when it opened up in the second round and they both were in a bit of a shootout, Dyson looked decent and he looked strong. It was like a hero moment for Dyson. Like he said after, you know, Danny's someone that I've watched for a long time, and he helped me after like my third fight or something like that, and I just honoured to share the ring with him, and he got paid really well for it. So fair play to him. It was a good watch actually. Yeah, it was a good result, and it was a good watch, and fair play to both of them. Right, on to BK Sports. Right, so we went to BK Sports last night in Birmingham. I had a lad out fighting called Luke Beeby, who's a very, very experienced amateur boxer. I think he's had 30, maybe 40 amateurs as a kid, and about 10 on the unlicensed circuit over the years, and he's just started flat out training, well, over the last couple of years, but really taking it very, very seriously over the last few months again. Whereas he'd had loads, and he's very, very powerful, very, very, very powerful, like freak power for the weight that he's at, 75 kilos, very tall and lean at 75 kilos, but he hits like a heavyweight, and he's one of probably, if not the biggest hitter in our gym with good technique. Probably the one of right up there with all the heavyweights we have. And Devastating puncher. And he's been looking for a bare knuckle fight for a long time. And all of a sudden, out of the blue, he actually, sorry, he was going to fight on a BK Sports show in Kent, but he had to have an operation on his ear, so he had to pull out, basically. And he was looking for one for a long time. And I kept saying, look, I'll get you one, I can find you on a Bad to the Bone, whatever. And then all of a sudden, he just said, right, I'm fighting on this date, you're going to come corner me. Of course, he's right. He's a very, very good friend of mine, very close friend of mine. We worked together for years when we'd just left school and stuff. We've known each other for very, very proud moment. So we've gone up there, but I always knew he would be serious bare knuckle fighter. I always knew it. He's just built for it. You know, some people are boxers and very good at that, and some people are boxers who can fight bare knuckle, and he is that. And I genuinely believe that he can go very, very, very far in this. You're talking like higher BKFC level, no problem, just off his experience and what I know he can do. So the lad he was fighting was a lad called Bremer, a lad from Oldham. They call him the Savage. He's got Savage tattooed on his chest, so he must be hard. He's a little bald fella, actually. When I see them next to each other, I thought, fucking hell, that looks like a bit of a mismatch, because Beeby's just so big in comparison to him. But this kid was good, because Luke had told them about his. I know a lot of people lie and they say, "Oh, I've never fought before," and all that crap, and they get mismatched at the beginning. But Luke was very honest, said he'd had a load of amateurs and everything, so they give him someone else who was at that level. And this kid was good. This kid was tough. Luke went in there for a bit of a scrap, and a scrap he had. It did end at the end of the first round, but knowing the power that Luke had, I'd been saying I'd be surprised if this gets out of 20 seconds. As soon as he hits him, he's going to go down, but that was not the case. And Bremer give a very, very good account of himself, knowing what Luke can do. He didn't rush in, even being a much shorter man. He didn't rush in. He waited on the outside. He waited for Luke to start taking a movement first before he'd take a slip and then try and come over the top. And he caught Luke with a big right hand over the top at first. Give him a little cut on his forehead. But yeah, when it come together and when it did become a bit scrappy, Luke just hit him with uppercuts and hooks, and he dropped him twice, and it was a really, really good performance. Just hopefully we can get him to box a little bit more in his next fight and establish his jab, because he's got such long arms. He's so strong. But obviously it's such a big experience. It's just like having your first boxing match all over again. It's like you're now having you've got all the nerves and all the fears that you do after that, like your first fight again, with something completely different. And for someone who is very experienced in, just brawling and street fighting and stuff, when you are going in there for a bare knuckle fight, you probably are tendencies to just go in there and try and scrap at first. But he did very, very, very well, and it was a very good knockout against a very good kid. And if this Bremer comes back, I think he could do really well. It was, in comparison to the rest of the card, the quality from both fighters was leaps and bounds above everyone else. It was a really, really good watch, actually. And really proud. Keep your eyes out for Luke. Luke Beeby. He's going out to fight on a clan. I think that's one of his dreams that he's wanted to do for ages. And after that performance, they've said that they're interested in having him out there. So the Ukrainian one, in it, where they fight in the sandbags in jeans, is fucking savage, to be fair. So yeah, he's looking to go out there for the clan, and we're going to get him back out hopefully very soon. Just get the cut. It's not a terrible cut. It's just it will be healed up in a couple of weeks. Straight back in the gym with him, and I'm going to look to speak to maybe BK Sports again. He can speak to BK Sports again, or I'll speak to Stefan, get him on Bad to the Bone or something like that, and he'll be doing big things in the coming years. The coming year, it will only take him 3 or 4 big results like that, and the big companies will be all over him, I'm sure. Anyway, boys, let me know what you think down below. What do you think of Dyson, Christie? How do you think Dyson got on? How do you think Danny got on? It'll be interesting to hear what you think. Oh, what happened? Anyway, sorry, I forgot to say the bad news. The bad news about BK Sport. I fucking forgot all about it. We were driving back from BK Sport. Bearing in mind, Birmingham was like a 3.5 hour drive from where we are, 4 hour drive or something. It was Stafford. And we've pulled into the motorway service station on the way home about 11 o'clock to get something to eat and go to the toilet and stuff. And Connor's van broke down in the car park. The clutch cable snapped. It just went. And we're just sitting there like, oh my God. His RAC cover was like 25 miles. My RAC cover is 20 miles and only on my car. We've had AA come out, which we're trying to bring different people. They're saying they want 800 quid and they can only take us 40 miles or they want 600 quid and I can only take us 70 miles. And you're just like, it was like, we're like 180 miles from home. And we was fucking there till about 3:30 in the morning in the freezing cold, in the van, sitting there banging our heads, just going, what the fuck are we going to do? How are we going to get home? And we ended up getting an Uber home, and I didn't end up getting from my front door until about, I don't know, 6 o'clock. But if we'd done it the way that the RAC and that wanted to do it, we wouldn't have been getting home till tomorrow afternoon anyway. So today afternoon, it would have taken fucking about 14 hours. So we probably did the right thing in the long run, and the van's getting sorted now. But yeah, that was why it was bad news. It was fucking bad news. It was horrible. Anyway, boys, thanks for watching. Let me know what you think down below. Adios, le bosh.